Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another uLaw webinar. In today's uLaw webinar, we're going to be covering the concept of the brand experience, customer experience, user, and the overall product experience. And we're calling it as how do you ensure a BX, CX, UX, and PX in a legal office. Okay, so that is the topic of today's webinar. Now, this particular webinar has been accredited for 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits. Again, I repeat, it's been accredited for 1 hour of professionalism credits for our friends joining us from Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick. Okay. Once again, it's for 1 hour of CPD credits. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to you as part of our YouTube channel by early next week. So it's a session that we have presented earlier in the year. It's one of the CPDs that have been approved by the law societies. So if you have attended the session previously or you've seen this video previously in the YouTube, just repeating for your purposes of time that it's pretty much the same content. But for those who have not been participated in this particular webinar, we hope this would be an interesting 1 hour of our session. Okay. Like every other uLaw webinar, today's webinar has, again, a clear-cut agenda. We're going to elaborate or talk a little bit more about what we mean about these 4 different experiences that we believe something that a legal firm has to keep in mind as you start to provide either a flavor of these experiences or, if possible, a flavor of all these experiences to their end clients. Okay? And hopefully it's a positive experience, it's a positive flavor that you can work towards and build process and a discipline around your business to ensure that there's a high experience quotient for all these different components. Okay? We're going to talk about the business of branding, why that's important to you as a legal firm, how the brand itself represents many of the qualities, including the policies, the whole concept of why you started this firm. It resonates very well from a reference perspective. So we're going to talk about how coming up with that brand is that much more important when you just get started, or if you're a firm that's looking to rebrand themselves. Great opportunity to think through many of the policies and many of, I would say, the ambitious plans that you have for your firm and what you represent in this very competitive market. How do you stand out using that brand? Okay. We're of course going to talk about what is a user experience, what that customer experience and product experience means, how you can use automation through software and other means that allow you to automate some of the experiences, especially both the user and customer experience. And finally, we'll talk about how, as an overall firm, the use of legal accounting, practice management can provide much better enhanced firm or product level experience to your clients. Okay? So let's jump right into these slides that really outline each of these individual experiences that we want to talk to you about today. Okay, we'll start with the brand experience. We believe and firmly believe that the brand experience, at the least to start with, is really the gateway for a client to know who you are as a company. So your firm is firmly represented by the brand, whether that's for marketing, for referral marketing, for social media marketing, or if it's just for you to be a part of a website marketing, whatever that means may be, the brand experience really resonates well as the first impression with your target audience of customers. Okay? If that being the case, the real question is, how do you as a firm work towards reflecting the true value, the competencies, and really showcasing who you are as a firm, whether it's an individual, solo, entrepreneurial pursuit, of your individualistic values, or if it's the values that represent the overall firm that has multiple colleagues contributing to the success of the firm. Okay, so we really want you to think about, how do I provide my end consumer, my customer base, my prospective customer, a fantastic brand experience by reflecting the firm's true values and competencies. Okay, so you want your brand to provide that and let your client feel that experience. The brand is a great opportunity for you also to imprint confidence in the service excellence that you and your team would provide or deliver. So a brand could be a combination, and we've done this as a separate webinar as well, and it's available in our YouTube channel. So what you consider as a brand is a combination of, could be colors, could be a certain logo, it could be captions, right, that can reflect the values, competencies, and really imprint that confidence. So there's various different factors that go into how you first and foremost design that brand. Why was that brand color combination brought in first? What are those taglines, like Nike and Just Do It? You have taglines that can sometimes reflect the core values. These are great opportunities, as I said, to reflect a special brand experience, and we're going to talk about how you can reflect that in each of the different touch points that your customer has working with your firm. Okay? And then we move on to the customer experience, and we define that as the way that, it's that first impression is if the first impression is really the brand, then once a customer or a prospective customer has experienced it and it motivates him or her to come visit your firm and have that first conversation, now that's where we believe the customer experience begins. So it really starts from that first time of a conversation engagement and continues through to the delivery of a final closing letter or an actual converted client. Okay? The brand allows the customer or a prospective customer, allows them to take the confidence to walk into your office to have a conversation. Everything from there starts as a customer experience. Okay? It's perceived by the customer with every in-person welcome, and we mentioned that. It could also be the phone conversation. Every retainer letter, so once the person has engaged, so let's say there is a retainer letter, the customer experience continues through each of those touch points. Okay? Every document, every consultation. And then comes the user experience. And we define this as the multi-touch point experience that the client receives when he or she is engaged using your service. Or if it's a corporation, whoever the client may be, the multi-touch point experience that they actually get out of working with your firm, what we consider as a user experience. Okay? A good example is, do you, as a firm, are you technologically savvy, and are you up to date with the use of technology to provide, let's say, a fantastic user experience of providing a self-serve payment option to your clients? Now that's a level of service quality or a certain level of experience that your end users have already been used to in this highly commoditized marketplace. Okay, they're used to paying for other things at their own leisure. Why not take that same experience and provide it to them from a legal firm experience, right? So that's the client truly get a sense that you and your team, whether that's investment in technology or whether the user experience is being provided through a bunch of colleagues in the firm, are they truly providing you with that service quality excellence? Okay, and does it give the client the feel for, yes, this firm is really working hard to meet my need and maybe even go one step further? So that's a user experience as we define it. And then last but not the least, we're talking about product experience, but you can take this as a overall firm experience of just the overall engagement experience with the firm itself, right? So this is experienced by the client in the manner that you've communicated with that client, and the actual outcomes achieved with that service delivery. Okay, whether that's a successful win for that particular case that you have with your client, and does the client feel very comfortable with the final outcome, having experienced the brand, customer, and user experience throughout the way. So truly, they came in with a certain expectation through that initial brand experience, and then you were able to provide a really nice customer experience through every touch point. And then came the user experience of you providing excellent service quality levels, different platforms to provide convenience to your customer. But in doing so, the final outcome, does that match with the original expectation that the client came to your firm with? Okay? What are the different options that you offer beyond, say, a certain solo of practice? So let's say you're a legal firm and you've done a fantastic job of providing the first three experiences. The brand is fantastic. The customer and the user experience has been great. Now you as a firm, assuming, can offer more than, let's just say, a small claims work area of practice. Let's say you also offer landlord and tenant board. You also offer criminal. And if it's a variety of service, that adds to the overall product experience as well. Because what that really motivates your client is having experienced that initial engagement with you for a small claims matter, the next time, either for themselves or for another friend or colleague or relative for a totally different experience, they're going to refer your name and your firm's name based on that original experience. Okay? So that's what we want you to keep in mind whether you're just getting started, somewhere in between, looking to rebrand your firm. And this could always, continue to grow and change with your evolution. So let's say you, as a legal professional, have invested in education, in educating yourself with, let's say, some of the other silos of practice. So maybe you were only focusing on a certain practice, and now you've taken education, you've gone to college, university, to also be able to provide other areas of practice. That's how the brand and that's how this overall experience evolves too with you. Okay, so keep in mind that these are the 4 experiences that we're going to be talking about in further detail. Okay, now that you have kind of a high-level concept of what these different experiences we're talking about, let's have a deeper dive, starting with the brand experience itself. Okay. Now, the brand plays a huge role in motivating a client, or a prospective client even better, to walk into your office, to make that first phone call, or to engage with your firm to begin with, right? Now, that same brand can also be used as a fast and easy way of a referral too. Okay? So if you're only focusing on highway traffic acts and you have a fantastic slogan or a logo that people can resonate with, it's a great opportunity for you to not only market it in radio, but also makes it easier for your customers who have experienced a fantastic life cycle working with you to refer it to another person as well, right? That's what we're talking about here in that first line. It also makes the brand makes it easier for you to replicate consistently the social branding and the business branding experience. So if you either employ third-party companies to help you with marketing your service, or whether you do it yourself, having defined a consistent brand with the same colors, the same logo, and having that consistently available also makes it easier for you to market your service, your brand, to your prospective marketplace. Okay? So it's very important. One of the aspects is that you have a consistent, not only a process, but also a discipline of making changes, but reflecting those changes right across your documentation. That brand needs to be consistent. You don't want to have a brand where you're brand colors are black and blue, and in a totally different document, it's green and yellow, right? It provides a little bit of professionalism, a bit of that professional touch if it's a consistent experience that your client receives from you. So we talk about where can this brand be imprinted in a very practical way. So we look at any customer-facing documents, whether that's retainer letters, invoices, receipts. Great opportunity for you to really include that brand experience. Not so much necessary for Law Society documents, because those are certain standard templates that auditors expected. That's not a great opportunity. Any customer-facing documents. Another example would be any envelope or envelopes that you may have. Great example to brand it as well. Okay? Now the brand, as I mentioned earlier, represents a consistent experience of both logo, colors, and a brand message, if you so choose to. Now this message is again very strategic. It can contain relevant information that you can provide or pass along to your client in a very subtle manner for them to think about your firm anytime that they're in need. For example, we take Starbucks as an example, use case, right? And we talk about how Starbucks personalizes your coffee right next to their brand. Okay? So we want you to think about how can you as a legal firm represent those values, but also the competencies as part of that brand message. The next question is, once you've defined this brand, it's fantastic, it's got a great logo, you've used tools to do that, you've got a great message associated with that logo, it's good looking. Now, how do you make this consistent, and how do you automate it so that you don't have to manually ensure that it's consistent? So that's when tools, practice management tools, document management tools come in really handy, because they provide you the mechanism to update that particular logo brand experience in one place and let the software automate the appropriate regions, the appropriate documents in which those brand experiences need to be applicable, right? Use the same brand experience creatively to market your brand across social media and print. As much as we talk about digital marketing, we're looking to see that a lot of legal professionals are reviving the whole print media, print marketing, whether that's a flyer or it's a print within a newspaper or a certain journal. Print marketing is coming back as, again, yet another great option for you to look at. Okay. Bottom line, a great brand experience translates to prospective customers and even better, great referrals. And we do take the example of Starbucks. I mean, we could have done anything else, like Nike, we've done that, but we just stuck to this. This is what's been approved by the Law Society, so we're not looking to change it. But you can pretty much apply almost the same concept with any leading brand that you as a consumer deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? This could be Second Cup, this could be, as I said, any other retailer, be a restaurant chain. It could be any brand that typically you're dealing with. But if you look at Starbucks as an example, of course, has a simple brand. It's got the colors, so it's white and green. Now, you're not going to find a Starbucks with a blue and black, for example. It's very consistent. It's green and white. It's got the mermaid, and keeps it simple. Okay? So let's just take that in for a second. It's a brand that once you've dealt with and you've experienced it, it's the same across all franchises. And how do they ensure that it's the same? By the use of tools. They ensure franchises have brand managers who make sure that, the logos, any updates are all available right across all the franchises across the globe. You as a legal professional for your firm will have to ensure the same, that once defined, that it's consistently available across all the documental experiences that you offer your client. Okay? So keep the simple brand effective and have a logo, and if you need to, have that little brand tagline. Like we mentioned, Nike has Just Do It, and you can read more about it. You can Google it and find out why you have that. So we looked at brand experience. Hopefully it was so far so good in terms of you being able to understand what we're trying to talk through as to cross these 3 experiences or 4 experiences. Kindly do use the chat window at any given time if you want to collaborate and ask us any questions during this session specific to this webinar, and we'll be more than happy. Both myself and my support staff are happy to answer that question. Okay. Now let's move on to the next experience that we define in our set of experiences, and that's the customer experience. And we mentioned the brand experience gets that prospective customer to the door, and now every engagement from there on starts with a fantastic customer engagement process. So these are key touch points where your customer receives insight into your business. So they walk into that firm. It could be the office. It could be the way it's decorated. It could be the color theme of the upholstery. It could be the furniture. It could be anything. And more importantly, it's the human touch or the digital touch that represents your firm and your brand. Every phone conversation. So if you are dealing with a certain silo of practice, maybe you bring empathy into the overall business of legal representation, and that can be reflected in the tone, can be reflected in the words used in the conversation, specifically with acts and benefits and things like that. There's a bit of empathy that's required, right, when you're talking to this customer who's actually gone through a rough experience of an accident. Every meeting, regardless of whether it's a solo practitioner, whether it's yourself bringing that, or even important in a multi-legal representative firm where everyone brings pretty much the same customer experience. Okay, you don't want one individual being very polite and in line with the brand, and someone else who's late to the meeting and it's kind of rude and things, not professional and things of that nature, right? That's where training becomes important as you grow your firm. Now, keep in mind, through this customer experience, all you're providing your customer through every communication is the confidence and the clarity that you've got their back, and you're going to work really hard to protect the legal rights of this client and work towards winning this case, whatever may be the preferred outcome. Okay? That customer experience and providing that consistently takes effort and discipline. Okay? Things such as ensuring that the retainer letter is as clear as it needs to be, ensuring that the retainer letter outlines the clarity of your service quality, the assured service quality, the expectation of your client in terms of their correspondence and their responsibilities working with your firm, making it very clear right from the get-go, ensuring that you have a process to docket and document and track all of the different touch points that you and the customer have had, including telephone conversations, every billable docket that needs to be part of it. If it's a flat rate, whatever was the agreed upon retainer rates, disbursement costs, all this goes towards having a fantastic customer experience, because you want the customer to think, you know what, I was always concerned about working with a legal firm, but this firm made it so simple and straightforward and clear for me to understand even the little nuances that are involved in legal representation. Right? Clear and self-explanatory invoices. One of the biggest challenges that we often hear from our customers and from the industry is the need for every document to be as clear and straightforward. Okay, so when we at uLaw design and come up with documents, we always have that in mind. How can a document be very self-explanatory? That's why we have many different invoice templates that reflect different situations. Different invoices have different data points that need to be reflected. Certain invoices, you don't want the entire history of what's being dealt with. In certain invoices, depending on the situation, you may want it. Right? So for each of those situations, you have to define certain process, be it manual or automated, to help you with the overall theme of consistency and clarity. Okay? Another example is that of a statement of activity. So if you've completed that file with the client, a statement of activity provides you a fantastic summary of everything that's happened within that particular matter. Providing with statement of accounts, especially if you're dealing with trust account, it's a fantastic document that really outlines how you are responsible as a legal professional in dealing with that trust money. Okay? So keep in mind, customer experience is that from the time the person engages with you, every touch point, correspondence, documentation, engagement is really the customer experience. Once again, great opportunity for you to automate some of these processes. So using business process automation, practice management tools, document management tools, you can really build in those key components, data capturing, and providing documents that goes towards improving the customer experience. Legal accounting software allows you to issue statements of account so that you're not doing that manually, and there's no manual errors in providing those documents. Okay? So what's the customer experience? So this is personalized and a consistent message. So it's the same logo, the same tagline, same brand experience, but it's a personalized latte for really what the customer wants. Okay? Now let's take that same, move on to the next experience. You've got the UX. Now the user experience, we believe in several ways can be a game changer. We believe office productivity is at its highest when you have a high user experience. And that user experience can also be translated as an experience to your end user. So you have consistent message to that customer experience, but now think about how can I provide it in a very efficient manner? How can I provide it in a fast and timely manner? It's a great invoice, but if it's not sent on time, what's the overall experience that the customer has? It's a great brand. You have fantastic retainer letters, but maybe you don't send those retainer letters in time. Maybe it takes you 5 days to send it. So now comes the next level of thinking is how do I deliver a consistent brand experience within clear documentation, but in a certain time that would make me look really good? Okay, that's where the user experience comes in. Do I mail this retainer letter in today's day and age? Or do I use technology and adapt to how technology has moved on? You're going to see a big mix of millennials coming in as your customer base. Whatever the different side of, could be real estate, could be Highway Traffic Act, could be, any side of practice, you're going to see that mix come in. So how do you as a legal firm, and many legal professionals yourselves may be millennials, right? So how do you as a legal firm better pivot and accommodate the advent of that technology? A great example that we often provide is, in today's context, a legal firm should certainly consider using an integrated payment service to their customers. There could be the exceptional customers that you know very well that still pay you in checks, pay you in cash, depending on the situation. But you want to prepare yourself to the more general public and having an organic growth at that. And for that, these are some of the tools that really enhance and uplift the user experience. So a properly integrated payment method, for example, can save time and grief to your customers. If you've got a net 10 or a net 15 payment date term, And let's say your client's traveling, providing this integrated self-serve payment method is going to allow your customer to pay you even if they're on a vacation, even if they're traveling on business, right? Whereas if you're going to be expecting them to cut a check, and maybe their situation does not allow them to receive it and pay you on time, they don't want to be at the receiving end of any extra charges that you may otherwise provide them with because they didn't pay you on time, right? And that leads rather to a bad user experience. And that lasts longer. A bad experience always lasts longer, unfortunately, and that's really how the way the human mind works. Little things like, how do I send seasonal greetings? Of course, it snowed in Toronto last night, but hey, it's April, so for those who were deceived to believe it was Christmas, it's not. But again, you have seasonal greetings. We have law firms that sometimes do provide greeting cards on birthdays for customers. This could be a repeat customer that they work with, corporate client that they work with, things of that nature, right? Providing a little bit of professionalism goes a long way as well. That leads to user experience, being punctual, being attentive, really listening to your customer, making that as part of your notes, delivering back that in time. Generally, delivering invoices in time is a great professional touch point. Once again, you can use automation tools to help you not only automate the overall process, but also deliver it in a pre-planned, scheduled time manner. Okay? So you can automate invoices to be generated. You can automate invoices to be sent via email. And with payment integration, you can include a link within that invoice, that digital invoice. You could use digital signatures. There are many things that you can do to enhance and, as I said, uplift that user experience. Keep in mind that user experience leaves the most long-lasting footprint of your business in the mind of your customer. It was a great brand experience, awesome, that got them into the front of the door. The initial, customer experience was fantastic. People who greeted this customer was great. The retainer letter was awesome. But then somewhere, once they got to work with you, the user experience dropped. Unfortunately, that's what sticks to their mind. So they're going to be like, hey, it's a great brand, but you know what? Somewhere I did not get what I wanted. The user experience amongst all these four is one of the most important experiences that you can plan for to provide, and that is a game changer if you can get it right. Okay? So, same example. You've got that. How was the user experience from a Starbucks perspective? Awesome. It's the same logo, the same brand, same colors. It's consistent across all stores, right? That brand is consistent across all stores. Whether you buy it in Toronto, you buy it in California, it's the same logo. And it's a consistent coffee. But now, Starbucks introduced many years back the opportunity for you to get that personalized coffee. That's great. But now you can order it online. They were one of the first to do that. You can now order it online. Now they've evolved that to even a mobile app. You can have people top up that app. So there's many things that you can start to do with that, and that's a user experience. And you're going to see that's how the millennials roll. They don't have the time, apparently, and hence they're going to be ordering this online and picking it up and rushing the heck out of that store. They don't have the time to sit in and, have that coffee in store, for example, or it could be anybody. But that's an amazing user experience for you to think about that Starbucks has now provided, and it has become table stakes, right? Like you do expect that with another coffee chain if you are not at Starbucks. And that's exactly how it can be a game changer. Okay? And last but not the least, we spoke about this. It's the overall product experience. And what that really means is it's a amalgamation of all these different experiences provided by your firm. a great brand, a great user or customer experience. And the final outcome of going through that experience is, let's say, the effort put in to get a fair deal for your client. As I said, the customer comes in with a certain expectation, and you as a legal firm provide an amazing journey of experiences leading it to an outcome that matches the original expectation. Because at the end of the day, the customer needs to feel satisfied that their needs were met and that they were served with the most care and interest. Very important, right? Now, beyond that, as I mentioned earlier, another aspect of product experience or firm experience is being able to provide other varieties of services. Okay, we spoke about that. So if it's a small claims matter that this initial client engagement was for, and having gone through that fantastic experience, wouldn't it be just so obvious that that particular client is going to definitely remember you? You're going to be top of their mind when a landlord and tenant board issue pops up, and they have that issue, or unfortunately they met with an accident and they remember that this particular brand and the firm that they worked with does offer accident benefits too. Maybe you have it in your tagline, right? Your tagline reads, landlord, accident benefits, and small claims is all we do, for example. That sticks to their mind. That's the brand recognition. The experience is going to motivate them to come back to you for their other side of experience. Okay? Now this requires automation too, because that's going to help you reduce the amount of manual effort required to come up with different approaches, set of templates for each of these different silos. A great example that we talk about is for certain silos of practice, in today's context, there could be certain types of fee structure. Okay? For example, a POA or a HTA file could be a flat rate, and there's a totally different retainer letter experience, totally different life cycle of docketing and dispersing. In fact, there could be no disbursements at all for certain silos of practice. Whereas there could be another style of practice such as criminal or such as accident benefits, right? Accident benefits many times is not even billable, it's not flat rate, it is contingency based. Whereas the criminal law many times could be a billable rate, pay as you go, and the correspondence cycle may vary as well, right? It's the same firm, it's the same brand, it's the same professionalism, but there are certain nuances that vary based on the areas of practice. Practice management tools can help you automate those as well. If it's a small claims matter, then maybe you generate a small claims retainer letter. If it's a criminal, maybe you generate a criminal letter, retainer letter, for example, which already has all this pre-templatized pieces of information. You're not typing it every time that you get a new criminal lawyer customer. So practice management tools allows you to not only plan, define, design that brand and overall experience, it allows you to provide that experience consistently to your customers. So one is to keep in mind what these 4 experiences should look like coming out of your firm. So that's really the first, regardless of automation, regardless of using software, right? Many firms can just do this in a manual basis. But then it really comes down to the appetite of the firm, how fast and how many clients you want to deal with. Do you have the time? Are you still able to provide it efficiently? Right? You're just dealing with one matter a month or a quarter. Maybe you don't need the software tools. Maybe you can just do this manually. But then that will also reflect in the type of revenue, the type of style of work, right? But if you are fast-paced and you have to deal with multiple clients at the same time, and hence come up with a process to deliver this consistently in a fast-paced manner, then looking at software tools is certainly a smart decision that you may want to endeavor. Okay? So the product experience is that overarching experience that encompasses brand, customer, and user experiences and provides end customers with the varieties that they need. Okay, so you've got that same, so what does the product experience look like from a Starbucks perspective? Choice. I think that's the simpler word. It's that same brand experience, same logo, right? But there's some varieties. Of course, there is hot coffee and now cold coffee, right? When they first started off, of course, they didn't have these different varieties. They're going to evolve over time. This comes back to a law firm about the education. Maybe now you hire certain types of legal professionals into the firm who bring that expertise, right? So you as an individual could be a criminal lawyer, but let's say you want to grow your firm, you see a lot of opportunity in accident benefits, then you make that investment in hiring an accident benefits specialist, legal professional into the firm. And between the two of you, you're now able to provide that variety of experience. Maybe you yourself educate yourself and then are able to now hire an assistant who can help you with that. So what you as a firm have to do to provide this experience is one of the fundamentals that you have to think through and strategize. But certainly the experiences that you want to provide your customer, this is definitely one of the top key experiences that you want to think about. Not maybe when you get started, but something to keep in mind as you grow and evolve. Okay, so choice, the logo being the same, the quality of coffee being the same, but that's just a different flavor and different, area of practice, if you will, that you can offer now. Now you're converting that customer, at bottom line, into an ambassador, someone who is an ambassador of your brand, right? Someone who talks highly about your legal firm's capabilities to others. And that's very important for you as a legal firm, because if in a very subliminal way, if you can offer these experiences almost automated, like, a retained letter should not be handwritten every time, fresh. It should be something that you can help automate, provide that consistent experience. And if you can do that in a subliminal way, then you're setting yourself up for success and to provide that consistent experience. Okay? You want to reduce the manual errors that you can otherwise not afford to do. So, to encompass this, or to provide an overall summary, having gone through this webinar, what does this really mean to you? Great opportunity for you to now take this weekend to think through or revisit your office branding strategy. What does your brand look like? Do you even have a brand or logo? Do you see there's a value to provide that brand experience? Can you think about it? There are other tools. There are freelance services that can offer you with varieties of services, right from defining a brand to really have that conversation with you to kind of really make that brand come out of those conversations. So there are services that you can now Google or search up in the internet that offer this service. You're not alone. You don't have to do this all by yourself. You have help at very competitive prices. Okay? You want to think about training and personal management. So if you're a growing firm and you have others in the staff, you have to ensure there's a process to train each and every staff member. Of course, you're not going to do this on a daily basis, but you do have to take the time to provide that message, maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months, depending on your firm's situation. Ensure that there's training to reiterate, the policies and the values and the professional experiences that you want to provide each customer. And you want to ensure that each and every colleague of your firm brings that experience to the table. Consider the types of tools that you use today, both from a legal accounting perspective, as well as from a practice management, business accounting. What are the types of tools? Digital signature, document management, cloud storage. There can be many different tools. It could also be the types of devices that you use. So are you a firm that has a computer at a firm, physical location, or are you providing with secure laptops, other mobile devices? Are you someone who uses the phone and you want that flexibility of being able to access and work just using your phone as an app, for example? Think about all those tools that you are going to need to deliver those experiences. Okay? Okay. So with another 5 or 6 minutes still left in the presentation, this is something that we've started to do recently. We've started to, go through this little survey, if you will, that we offer our participants today. And it allows us to understand, first and foremost, your perspective of where you are as a legal professional, to get your feedback so we could use this and give this back to you, for example. So I kindly request if you could pick up your phone or any device that's connected to the internet and actually type up www.menti.com. This is, again, another tool. This is another way that we're able to provide a better user experience to you guys as a webinar participant. If you can kindly use that website and enter the code 805316, I'm going to get started by starting that survey tool, if you will. So once again, kindly use the code 805316. Okay? You just have to type in menti.com and put that in. And hit submit. And you're going to be presented with the first question, which is, how do you enhance the customer engagement today at your firm? So you can use up to 3 options. What do you provide as a firm to enhance that customer engagement? Once again, the website to go to is menti.com, and to type the code 8053 and 16, and choose those options as to what you do today or plan to do in the upcoming months or weeks. So we've got 1 response so far, a few more responses coming in. Take your time. Don't feel shy. We'd love to hear from you. The website to use is menti.com, and use the code 8053 and 16 to start providing your feedback. Okay, so maybe I'll have the slide open for maybe another minute for everyone to provide us their feedback, and then we'll move on to the next slide. So far we've got providing quarterly updates, having clarity and confidence in the call seem to be kind of the top at this particular time. Perfecting your retainer comes pretty close second. Self-explanatory invoices is a third, and then providing quarterly updates is another feedback that we've got. Okay. Okay, let me move on to maybe the next question, and hopefully we'll get a better engagement there. So we'd like to know, where do you spend your marketing today? And you can use the plus, that's a total of 100 divided by 5 different options. So you can give a maximum of 20%. Of course, this is Facebook and not Facebook. We apologize for that. But is it Facebook, LinkedIn? Where do you spend your money today or your effort today? We've got digital media. We've got print. Fantastic. Okay, so you've got about 40% digital media, right? About 35% print media so far. We've got about 12% on Facebook, and in fact, we've got LinkedIn as well. So it's interesting that people do use LinkedIn to market their service, and not many on Google advertisement. And what's really interesting is almost 35% do spend it on print media, which, as I said, is definitely a revival for print media. Okay, let me move on to the next question. You can just refresh, just click on the refresh button on your screen. The last question, and we're keeping this simple, right? What experience do you think you can improve upon? So now we've looked at 4 different experiences. I'm sure you are very, you have better knowledge about your current firm's situation. So having looked through this presentation, where do you, again, this is divided by 4 different experiences that we spoke about. Do you want to improve upon your brand, customer, user, or product experience? And this is divided by 4 different, so you can go up to 25 on each of these. Or you can give, equal weightage or different weightages. So far we've got about 40% on product experience. And we've got 20, 20, 20 on the brand, customer, and user experience. And if you want these results, you can certainly put in your email, and we'll automatically email these results to you. But I'd love to hear more from the audience in terms of what experiences you believe you can improve upon moving forward. Again, the website to use is menti.com. The code is 805316. That's great. So we've got about 35% on product experience, 25 on brand, 15 on customer experience, and 25% on user experience. Okay, so we thank everyone for participating in this survey. We'd definitely love for everybody to be involved and provide their feedback, but I'll jump back into my slide share today just to provide you a quick recap of today's webinar. So today's webinar is being accredited for 1 hour of CPD credits. It is being recorded and will be available to you early next week. And the title for you to type in into your individual Law Society portals to get these CPD credits is How do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX SI for your law office? And we looked at the 4 important experiences as we believe a legal firm can think about as they try and win customers and grow their business. We talk about the brand experience. We talk about the customer experience, which really starts from time of engagement. We looked at overall user experience, which was the multi-touch point, one of the most important experiences that you can provide that leaves a long-lasting impression with your client. So this is the different multi-touch point experiences, the ability for your clients to pay online, the ability for you to email them your invoices, digitally sign it. Sometimes you can even send retainer letters, send them emails of retainer receipts, payments, etc. Right? Could be a portal where you upload all the documents so they can review it. It's a centralized vault, if you will. Even email many times can go a long way of providing faster correspondence. And then we looked at the overall product experience that encapsulates these important brand, user, and customer experiences, but also provides you, the customer, the variety and a very professional, consistent way of communicating the actual outcomes. Meeting the expectations with the outcomes through providing the life cycle of experiences. That's really how I would define the product experience. Okay? So hopefully this was a good session for you on Friday afternoon. And please provide us your feedback. Do email us at support@ulawpractice.com. We also invite you to send us suggested topics that we can, provide content and these webinars on. In the upcoming weeks, we're looking to collaborate with customers and leading legal professionals and have certain types of joint presentations, making it a little bit more interesting for you as an audience. So we look forward to presenting it in the forthcoming weeks. But we look forward to seeing you in our next webinar next Friday at 2 p.m. And till then, we'll thank you for joining us, and we'll wish you a fantastic, warm, and a happy weekend. Thank you.